Tom Sawyer Show is brought to you by El Patron Mexican Grill and Cantina. They have the best Mexican food in town. Authentic and delicious El Patron. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us. Coach Sawyer, thank you for joining us here.
You bet.
I know it's a difficult weekend for you with the loss to Augustana. Probably not a very fun Monday either as we come and tape this show, so I thank you for coming in and talking about this. I'm sure that everybody that watches wants you to talk about that last play against Augustana, so we'll lead off with that. Hail Mary at the end of the game. Looks like Cameron Johnson catches the ball. It's ruled incomplete. First of all, I guess, talk us through what you're feeling on the sidelines as you see the play develop and then what happens afterwards.
Well, I thought it was a crazy end of a game. That's what college sport is all about, those big moments. And we always talk about, when you have a chance to be in that moment, make a play. And Jack threw a perfect ball. The protection was great. So we were in that position. We made the play. Cam caught it clean. And ended up, in the end zone. And with college football, you only need to catch it and touch the ground. You don't need to go to the ground. You don't need to come up with it after you roll or any of those things. He caught it clean, and they determined it otherwise. And it's hard to swallow because, there's so much ramifications from it. But our kids played their tail off, and like I said in the paper, kind of a scattered game. It was kind of all over the place. But, we found a way to get in position a few times. But at the very end, kids made plays. And on Hail Mary, as we've all seen all the way back to the Doug Flutie days, that's a catch for the offense, a catch for the defense, or it's batted down. There shouldn't be any other discussions, and that's the way it ended, and now we're paying the price.
All right, now we're going to try to get as much behind the scenes as we can. Obviously, we don't want to get anybody in trouble with anybody, but what are you talking with the officials about after the game? Well,
I talked to the officials about possession and the college rule, because a lot of times, we have young officials, and sometimes they work Friday night games too, and they work Saturday, and they work a lot of different leagues, and they also watch a lot of TV. And in the college game, like I said before, if you possess the ball, it doesn't be for how long. If you possess the ball and touch the end zone, it's a touchdown, or put the ball in the end zone, like you see guys going over the cone. All of those scenarios are exactly the same. In this case, Cameron had the ball. He had 2 feet down in the end zone and even went to the ground all with the football. And then they made a ruling on what happened after that, after they were rolling around after a couple kids dove on him. But the game was actually over. When he caught it, touched the ground, he could have turned around and threw the ball up in the stands, and it wouldn't have mattered. So that was the discussion, as it was about possession. I talked to the official. One said that there was dual possession. Well, if there's possession, it doesn't matter. It would still be an offensive touchdown. Then they talked about, after the fact that he was juggling it or bobbling it when they rolled out and they ended up out of bounds. And they also talked about possession. So the whole conversation I was having was trying to get the white hat or the referee to listen to what they were saying about possession. But they went with the idea of bobbling the ball and ending it up out of bounds, which really is not the interpretation of the rule. That's what I was trying to do, because once the white hat or the referee leaves the field, the game's over. And there is no appeal, there is no other change. But clearly, on the replays and as we looked at film, I really felt like Cameron made the play.
Now, you say that once the referee leaves the field, then it's over. But before that, I know that in a lot of the games that I've seen and have commentated on, you wonder whether or not when a coach goes over to talk to the official, if there's any way of getting a call reversed, and you say that could happen.
It can happen. It absolutely can happen. And what I was disappointed in is they didn't have a conference about it. The 2 guys that were there, but if you get all 7 of them, we have 7 people there. Mm-hmm. If they talk about it long enough or even briefly about possession and what does that really mean, and have a conversation about it, maybe they would have said, it doesn't matter what happens on the ground. If his foot touched the ground before any of that happened and he was in possession, it's a touchdown. And we couldn't get to that because they decided to leave the field. So I was disappointed that they didn't go through the full protocol, because they actually could have reversed it if they all came to an agreement. If they don't agree, they don't agree, and you got to live with it, and that's what happened. But once he leaves the field, the game is then declared over.
All right, and then even though that's over, still talk to the conference afterwards. I don't know how much you could say about what you talked to the conference about, but when you do that, what's your motivation? What are the things that you're talking to about them, and what do you hope happens afterwards?
Yeah, my first one was, and I talked to Erin Lynn. She's our conference commissioner, and she's great. They're great. And Mike Nevin is the head of officials. He's great. They're trying to make our league best as they can, top to bottom, athletic teams, coaches, officials, and I'm a proponent of that. My first reaction to them was, I wish that we would have spent more time on the possession. The second part was, I wish we could continue to work to get our officials better in judgment areas of the game, because there was a couple other calls too that we were concerned about. But my job really is to, one, support our players, and I wanted her to know that, but she had already been contacted by Augustana, so everybody in the place felt the same. And when they made the call, then everybody was reversed, and she knew that and was aware of it before I even called her.
All right, now one of the big quotes that you had after the game was, "This took away everything from us."
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. One, I was very emotional, and two, it was, our chance to go to the playoffs. I mean, we still have an outside chance to go to the Mineral Water Bowl, which would be great, and we're still in the hunt for that. But now it gets more complex, and we win 2 games, we'll see. But we were on a roll. We've brought our program back. Our seniors deserve to have a chance to play in the playoffs. And that game that way, that's what that meant, was it took away everything, which meant our chance to go to the playoffs.
All right. Has there ever been any discussion about bringing replay into football like they use in basketball?
Yeah, they do. And really, the discussions we've had is it's not a rule yet in Division II football until you get to the semifinals. Once they get the TV games and they have access to all the equipment, it's just a very expensive operation to have replay on all the fields, and you have to have it for everybody before you can put it in. Although you can, if there's availability to go look at something, you can use it. If there's a discussion and we're at Winona and we could go up to your guys' box or over to the truck and look at replay, if they wanted to use the equipment that's on the facility, they can. In this case, they didn't think there was a controversy. They just went with the call and left. But if there was something that they're really concerned about, they actually can use the stuff that's available to them on that particular field.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the game. We've got a couple minutes left in this segment, and talk about some of the performance that you had. You had a record-setting performance for Paul Preston, personal career, 198 yards rushing.
Yeah, and he was a motivator. That little dude was running around like a crazy guy. It was really, really fun, and what people don't see is the job that he did in protections as well, protecting Jack Nelson. And Paul he played motivated. He's been hurt. He had knee surgery here just a couple weeks ago, and so when he came back, Upper Iowa, he didn't play, and then he came back and he was okay down at Wayne, but he wasn't himself. And all of a sudden, by Wednesday of last week, I said, "Oh, he's back," and he went off. And it was really fun to watch. Was in that last drive when we took the ball down and scored with 1:25 left. He carried the ball 4 or 5 times, and he was absolutely amazing. And we did it with an offensive line of a bunch of guys that were a couple of them were out. Our starting 2 guards, or a couple of the guards, and were out of the game. And so we did it with kind of a mismatched bunch up there, and they really did a tremendous job to get us in position to get the go-ahead touchdown with 1:25 on the clock.
Talk about the passing, or the passing offense, because that was kind of taken away. Jack Nelson just 12 of 25, 131 yards. Was that mainly defense from Augustana?
Yeah, I think that part of it was. I think that Jack just didn't play his best game. He'd be the first to tell you that as well. We missed some reads and some guys that were open. And we had a couple drops, but not anything that's out of sorts. But it just wasn't our day throwing the ball, and it was really windy, and we were running the ball well. I mean, you rushed for over 200 yards. I mean, that's a pretty good day. So we did what had to be done, but it wasn't our best passing day. Some of which was the defense, some of which was on our own accord.
Now, it was kind of being billed, especially by Augustana, as 2 of the top quarterbacks, possibly in conference history, doing battle against each other. And the defense for Winona State played pretty well. They got some forced fumbles, got some interceptions. Talk about the play of defense.
Our defense is playing great. Even with that game, here we are going into week number 10, and we're still the #1 defense in the league. And we feel that we're one of the top conferences in the country. So we're one of the best defenses in America. And we haven't been able to say that for 20 years I've been here. We've had some really good defenses, but not to finish #1 in the league. And I just really hope for those guys that we finish the last 2 games here and we see what happens. But if they could finish #1 in the league, what a tribute that is to our players and to our coaching staff as well.
I got to ask you one more question about a play that maybe had a factor into the end of the game. That was Andrew Spencer blocking an extra point and then being called for a personal foul. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, you've seen it on the NFL a little bit. Seattle game last week, they had it where he just took off from about 7 yards back, and the goal was to jump cleanly over the top of the center who's snapping the ball. Or actually, we're looking at the guard because he's the guy who's been kind of kept his head down. So our scouting would say go in that area. So he took off and went completely over the top like Superman and blocked it. Really, guy kicked it right in his chest, and that was a big play. And what happened? And then they scramble for it, and nothing happened. What happened is that they called him for leaping because one of the rules is that you can't use an opponent or your own player to enhance your jump. So if you ran up and then jumped off somebody else and then went and blocked it, you could be 12 feet off the ground. He didn't really do that. He did make contact with the center, but there's not a contact rule. It's a did it help you enhance your leap? And that was the discussion we had on that, but that's what they called.
Well, that was the question in the Cardinal game too, because you saw in the replay the guy just kind of brushed the center. But you said that he just kind of landed on the ground. He didn't land on anybody.
He didn't land on anybody. He landed all the way back to the holder. I mean, he jumped in the air almost 6 yards, flying through the air, 6 yards in the air. And, when you take an athlete as good as Andrew is and you take off running from 7 yards and take off, those guys can cover a lot of ground. So he didn't land on anybody. So that part of the rule was out too. It's whether or not he used that as leverage, and I don't believe that he did. He did touch him, but I didn't see any acceleration of vertical from that contact, and that's part of the rule that's under discussion.
All right, let's end this segment on a positive note. One last question, that's about Jack Nelson. He needs just 71 yards to be the NSAC's all-time leading passer, and that it'll happen at home in these last 2 weeks. What's that going to mean to the program? What's that going to mean to Jack?
Well, I think it means everything to all of us. Those records are team records, and Jack's always the first one to tell you that. I mean, Cameron's been with him all 4 years and caught a lot of those passes. But it's a team record because the more times the defense works to get us the possession, more chances they get. And we're a 50-50 team, run pass. So you're talking about a guy that's leading the conference history in passing that we run the ball half the time. So you imagine how much yards that is per catch, different than a team that throws the ball every snap. Very proud of him, very proud of our offensive line, who has been in shambles the last few years, and we still now have this record. That's a testament to those guys, and especially the last 2 years since Coach Cunningham has gotten here and really raised the level of that play. Extremely proud for our program that we have the best ever in anything, and you could say that at quarterback is pretty special.
All right, let's take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we come back, we'll talk to the players. Cameron Johnson will join us from offense right after this.
The future of broadband is here with HBC GigaWorld. Discover next-generation internet, allowing you to stream multiple HD movies simultaneously, download your favorite music, backup files to the cloud, and more, all in less than 60 seconds. Watch TV on your schedule with whole home DVR, video on demand, and HBC TV to go. Reach out to friends and family near and far with crystal clear local and unlimited long-distance calling. HBC GigaWorld with more bandwidth and reliability than any other provider. Imagine the possibilities. Visit hbci.com today.
It's a new day, and there are things you need to know. Football things.
Know where he's at because he will knock your block off.
Fantasy football things.
He has top 10 upside, there I said it.
Non-football things.
I plugged Harry Potter. I've talked about Game of Thrones.
Bring it back to sports.
And things on your mind.
Tweet them to us at GMFB.
Good Morning Football. Monday through Friday at 7, only on NFL Network.
Turn your friends into GigaFriends with HBC and earn up to $50 on each qualifying referral.
Up to $50.
That's right.
More input, please.
When HBC customers refer their friends to sign up for HBC services, they can earn up to $50. If they get 2 friends to sign up for services,
That would be $100.
That's right. Pretty quick with the math there.
Affirmative. We are robots. Math is kind of our thing.
Never would have guessed.
Grab some GigaFriends and start saving today.
The Tom Sawyer Show is brought to you by El Patron Mexican Grill and Cantina. Their happy hour is Sundays through Thursdays from 3 to 7 p.m. Check out their Facebook page for details. Authentic and delicious El Patron. And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show. Time now for the player perspective. And Coach, you have one of the best wide receivers in Winona State history with us today.
Yeah, Cameron Johnson, welcome back, Cam.
Happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us.
All right, the first question I have is you explain it to him, would you please? Because that was an amazing catch, and why don't you just give the story from your perspective, Cam?
Well, we do the Hail Mary every Friday. Just in our walkthrough, we go through it. So I think we were ready for that. And Coach called it and went out there. And, I don't really know what else to say. I caught the ball. I thought I landed in bounds. Ball never touched the ground. No bobble, no nothing. And the official disagreed. So, there's nothing you can do about it now.
What was the trip back like for you after that?
I don't know. I was pretty upset. I think everybody was upset, and rightfully so, like in the beginning. But after a while, after they put up the film and we watched it, it's almost laughable at this point. The past 4 or 5 years, the seniors here, guys that have been here 4 or 5 years, have had a lot of things like that not go our way. So now you just kind of learn to laugh it off, and we'll always be talking about that play. Like that group of seniors will be talking about that play for the rest of our lives, probably.
I want to ask one more question before I turn it back over to Coach. I know that there was a lot of confusion. No one really knew what was going on during the game because they just had the feed from Augustana, and I saw John Casper from the Daily News post the video, and then you replied to it, and it was, I have to commend you on the tweet that you had because it was simple, to the point, respectful, and everything. I caught the ball, Mr. Casper. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me what were your emotions as you're typing that?
I just want people to know the truth, and I think everybody in that stadium knows I caught the ball. I was looking at Augustana fans. There was a guy that yelled at me and told me that I caught the ball, but as far as my emotions were going, it was at the point where I was starting to laugh it off because I saw it, and I lived it firsthand, and everybody else saw it too, but I don't really know what else to say about it anymore.
One of the things I want to talk about is, our resilience to keep coming back, and I think that's something that this team really has. How do you think the team will handle, that game? Not just the situation. There's a lot of things in that game, as we talked about, but as you start having to get ready again now to go play for the Sledge. As an athlete, what do you have to go through mentally to reorganize yourself to get ready to go for another level of competition?
You got to understand that that's football, and things aren't going to go your way every single time, but you can't just let that define you. This group of seniors, like we said before, we've been through a lot of losing seasons. We've had a couple losing seasons, a couple things not go our way, but we never let that define us. We keep working, and so tomorrow when we go out to practice, it's just getting back to work. It's a new week, new challenge.
Okay, and the last one I have is really about our offense, and we talked about it a little bit. We didn't throw the ball extremely well in that game, but you get a game where Paul's kind of going off too, and your job changes. All of a sudden, you're blocking a bunch more. How does that affect you when we're throwing it one game for 45 times, and all of a sudden we're running it for 30 times? How's that different for you?
I don't really think it's different. You got to do your job every single play, and when Paul's going, it's amazing to watch. So I just want to do my part and make sure he has lanes to run through. But, I can go out there and have 0 catches, 0 yards, 0 touchdowns, and if we get the win, my teammates are succeeding, then I'm perfectly happy.
Okay. We talked about the record that Jack Nelson might set, and you're you're going up the charts, and Winona State receivers over 1,000 yards now this season. Can you even think about that right now, or is it kind of focused on the last 2 games of the season?
No, I'm not worried about all the accolades and everything. It's just about finishing these last 2 games off, at least these last 2 games off with this group of guys. This has been my favorite team I've ever been on, and I think we deserve a 12th game, but now it's just about finishing it off right.
Okay, and then I know that this might even be a question that you can't answer right now, but what's football going to play in your future after you leave Winona State?
That's an opportunity that may present itself once this season's over, but I'll take a look into that when the time comes. Right now, I just want to win these last 2 games. I want to go get that sledgehammer in Southwest.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah, the last one I have is, talking about that Sledge, and it started back, 10 years ago, really, but as we get ready for that kind of game, those little things motivate us. I know they do. How does it motivate you and our team?
I don't think anybody on our team really likes Southwest that much, and that should be enough motivation. They've taken some games from us these past couple of years, but a rivalry game, big rivalry game, there should be no extra motivation that you need. Just the fact that we're playing Southwest, it's a Sledge game, we got it at home. We got robbed last week. I think that's enough motivation for our team.
Excellent, thank you.
All right, Cameron, thank you for joining us this week, and
No
good luck
problem.
against Southwest.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we come back, we'll get the defensive perspective. Mike Imperiali joins us right after this.
Anything can happen on Thursday. America was born on a Thursday. So was Odell Beckham Jr. And that Pac-Man guy. The Model T was launched, the first text was sent, and Broadway Joe guaranteed an upset. All on a Thursday. Thursday, Thursday, Thursday. Oh, and this happened. On a Thursday. Anything can happen on Thursday. Thursday Night Football. Thursday at 8 on NFL Network.
HBC GigaWorld is fiber optic, which means there's more capacity for more devices. With HBC GigaWorld, your broadband experience gives you unsurpassed capacity, allowing multiple users in your home to surf, shop, game, and stream all at the same time, with no buffering or lag. HBC GigaWorld, with more bandwidth and reliability than any other provider, giving you the best speed and capacity for your GigaHome experience. Visit hbci.com to learn more.
They said Down syndrome. Don't expect a lot. I just said, no, John is going to be my child.
My goal is a relationship, and maybe I'll move out on my own.
You can make your life anything you want.
I'm here, I'm alive, I'm human. We have to stick together.
The Tom Sawyer Show is brought to you by El Patron Mexican Grill and Cantina. They are the place to go for an express lunch, 7 days a week from 11 till 3. Authentic and delicious El Patron. Welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show here on TV 25. And Coach, you have a return defensive guest with you.
Yeah, Mike Imperiali's here. Mike, thanks for being here.
Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it. My first question today, Mike, is, from the defensive perspective, we really played a really good football game and against a really good quarterback. And now every week in this league, we're playing these quarterbacks. What was Trey Hyde like to play and like to play like?
He was probably the best quarterback we've seen all year. I mean, he was running around. He's very elusive, and he knows how to get out of bounds and try to trick you into hitting him right before he goes out. So, and I mean, he could throw and he can run. So it was tough, but I mean, I think we had a good game plan. We were ready for him. We really were, and we just didn't come out on top.
We talk about, the last play, but we also talk about the stops that we had defensively, and a couple of them got away from us. One was on a botched punt, that all of a sudden the guy picks up and takes off, or they would have never scored the winning touchdown anyway. What's that like for you guys when you know that you got them, now it's fourth down, they're off, and then something like that happens? What do you go through?
It's tough. I mean, you're still huffing and puffing, coming off a series where you're chasing the quarterback around left and right. And, it's real tough having to go back out there, but our group of guys, we're really resilient. We really know how to get together and just fight, dig our heels in the ground, and know that if we go back out there, it's on us. And I think we like that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach talked about that one fourth down in particular, but over the course of the season on fourth downs, defense has played very well. I don't have historical numbers, but it's got to be close to school records on fourth down conversion. So what's that like when you're getting ready for a fourth down? It's a pressure situation. How does the whole defense handle that?
I think everyone just looks in each other's eyes, and we know that we could trust each other and just to do our job. Nobody's trying to go over the top and do too much, do somebody else's job. Everybody knows that they have to do their 1/11th, and if we do that, somebody is going to make the play, and it really works every time.
All right. In the game against Augustana, you had a forced fumble in that game. Talk us through that play, if you would.
Yeah, I was just in pass coverage. I dropped back, and they threw the under route, and he started running, and I don't know, the guy tried to hurdle somebody on our team, and as he went up, I saw him coming down, and the ball was kind of out, so as he came down, I just grabbed a hold of it and ripped it out, and it came flying out, and Katniss jumped under the pile and recovered it, and it was a good feeling. It really was.
Well, you got two guys from Addison Trail on that play. You're talking about Anthony joining you on that. But playing in this league, Mike, and being the #1 ranked defense in the league, you're leading us in tackles, or I think you and Andrew are on the top. What's that like, being on a team, walking on the field, knowing that you guys have earned the #1 position in the league?
I mean, I think it's great right now, but we have a lot of unfinished business. We really need to win this game against Southwest. I mean, they've beat us 3 years in a row now, and we think we're the better team, but it's time to just stop talking about it and actually do it. I think we have a really good defense, and the thing is, it's the guys all love each other. We're here for each other. The bus rides are all fun. We're all tight. So I just think we really need this win just to polish it off, and then go beat Concordia next week too, and we'll see what happens at the end of the year.
Yep. Now you're a junior this year, correct?
Yep.
So how do you use Augustana, these possible last 2 home games? Do you use that as motivation then to get ready for next year?
Definitely. I think we've been through so much, a lot of our guys, even the guys who aren't seniors, the guys who are sophomores and juniors, they've seen the last couple of years what we've been through and close losses, and I think everyone's about to learn from their mistakes, and we're going to come back a lot stronger next year, but right now the focus is on Southwest, and because they beat us 3 years in a row, and this is one that we really want bad.
The other part of it is, being an older guy in the defense and the leader really on that defense. You got guys like Cam Gavin, we've mentioned, who's played, and we thought he had a pick in the game, and you look at all that kind of stuff. But what is your role, Mike, with those young guys who are kind of looking at you with those wide eyes, going, "What do I do next?"
Well, one thing is my locker. I'm away from all the other linebackers for some reason, and I'm in the middle of all the defensive backs. So and they have the most young guys on the team, so I'm around them, and I think it's pretty nice. I mean, they do look up to me, and they look up to all the older guys too, but I just think that they can learn from the way we prepare for games. You know, we win the games on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, not Saturdays. So I think they've learned a lot from that.
You know, the last question I have is, you know, let's talk about Wrigleyville and the Cubs. And I know that you were a great baseball player and grew up, you know, just outside the city, by not too far from Wrigleyville. What's it like for you and your family to actually see the Cubs win a home playoff game?
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, every night, the past 2 games we've had that were home, you know, we got everyone at our house watching the game, and it's honestly amazing what's going on right now. And you know, at practice every day, I'm yelling "Go Cubs" when we line up for punt. So it's just a tradition I have. So
yeah, no, I'm a Yankee fan. I hear you.
All right, well, we're out of time for this segment. Thank you for joining us this
Thank
week.
you for having me.
And we'll see you. Good luck against Southwest.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us here on this segment. We're going to be back to wrap it up. Talk about Southwest coming up here on the Tom Sawyer Show.
HBC GigaWorld is fiber optic, which means you can experience true gigabit Wi-Fi. With HBC GigaWorld, you can maximize your Wi-Fi experience and the devices you use with HBC's GigaHome Gateway. Take your Wi-Fi to the next level with faster internet speeds that have increased signal strength, backed by the reliability and bandwidth to support simultaneous internet users all at the same time. HBC GigaWorld, with more bandwidth and reliability than any other provider. Visit hbci.com to learn more.
Turn your friends into GigaFriends with HBC and earn up to $50 on each qualifying referral.
Up to $50.
That's right.
More input, please.
When HBC customers refer their friends to sign up for HBC services, they can earn up to $50. If they get 2 friends to sign up for services,
That would be $100.
That's right. Pretty quick with the math there.
Affirmative. We are robots. Math is kind of our thing.
Never would have guessed.
Grab some GigaFriends and start saving today.
Get your fixer-upper fix on HGTV.
Pow!
Every Tuesday,
Reporting for duty.
Chip and Joanna make dreams come true.
It's gonna look awesome.
OMG!
With more challenges, more surprises,
Are y'all ready to see your fixer-upper?
more Chip,
I think it's always fun to shake it up a little bit.
Amen.
Fixer-upper. Tuesday night at 9, only on HGTV.
The Tom Sawyer Show is brought to you by El Patron Mexican Grill and Cantina. They have the best Mexican food in town. Authentic and delicious El Patron. And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show. Back home this week after 2 weeks on the road. In fact, you got your last 2 games at home. But as you were talking about during the player interviews, it's Southwest and it's the game for the sledgehammer. Can you talk us through the traveling trophy?
Well, I think it's great. We just started it last year, and you know, they beat us in the last minute over there last year, and won the game, and they got the first sledge, and we're excited about it. I think it's a great, you know, it adds to the rivals. It's like all the big schools are doing it between state schools, and I think that's really fun. And you know, it goes back all the way about 10 years ago when we brought a sledgehammer to the field and just a part of a defensive thing and set it out in the middle of the field, and after the game they came over and tried to steal it and almost started a melee. So that's how it got initiated. But now it's one of those bragging rights things, and it's you know, it's big for recruiting and everything else that we're doing, and we think it's time that it comes back to Winona.
Very good. All right, let's talk about health-wise. How's the team coming into the game?
Actually, really good. We came out of the game clean. Jake Gronholz didn't finish the game, but he sprained an ankle, but he'll be fine. He was looking good this morning when I saw him. So we should be at 100% on Saturday. So we haven't been that way for about 3 or 4 weeks, and it's normal this time of year. But really feel good about it. Our guys are playing at a fast pace, and we need to have a clean game. Stay away from penalties that have been killing us the last couple of weeks, and just play a clean football game, and then we'll see what happens.
All right, and then the last thing, your luncheon coming up on Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday again, we're back at the Riverport, and we appreciate the Green Mill hosting us last week. We're back at the Riverport at noon, and we'll take a little bit more look at some of the video we had and talk about the sledgehammer game.
All right, well, again, I appreciate you coming in, talking about a difficult game, and all the things you're able to talk about this week. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
All right, and thank you for joining us here on the Tom Sawyer Show. We'll see you next week here on TV 25.